Well, hey, Gundam Maniacs, welcome to another episode of Gundam Explained. Advance of Zeta might be one of the most expansive manga series in terms of mobile suit designs, variations, and even connecting many stories together under one single flagship. For many, AOZ is a masterpiece among Gundam manga for an excellent reason. And I want to get more into Advance of Zeta, and it's really hard to do because there's so much out there. So I'm going to create a series of videos that will kind of go through Advance of Zeta. And I'm going to use this one as more of a facts about Advance of Zeta, just to kind of get an understanding, just a baseline of Advance of Zeta. And I want to thank Lord Talos Mobius for the help on this, so thanks a lot. And I just want to give a shout out to Talos Mobius on his channel, linked below. He's going to start doing a weekly GBO2 series. He has his first one up. But anyway, let's get started. But before we get started, if you haven't, please subscribe. If you think this is a cool video, give it a like. Check the links in the description for ways you can support this channel. Also check the links in the description for some other supporters. Depending on the tier, I'll put links of supporters in the description. Check that out to see what they do. But anyway, let's get started. So, along with Crossbone, Advance of Zeta has one of the largest rosters of mobile suits and mobile armors in all of UC and alternate universes. You know, this is very apparent to me when I got into Gundam. I'd come across some model kits that looked awesome and never heard of them before, and then I see, oh, it's from this Advance of Zeta. And then that just kept going, and then it got to a point where I'd recognize, oh, the design of this seems like it must be AOZ related, and it was. And it's like, man, I need to get to know this story, where all the mobile suits came from. It is pretty crazy. So to start, and the reason why all of us are here, has to do with the mobile suits. So, Titans. The Titans are kind of the center of AOZ, Advance of Zeta. It was, you know, the Titans that started doing this development, and we'll kind of get into that project here shortly, of these advanced mobile suits that were modular. They borrowed from different things, and they even like evolved into other things you've seen and maybe have not known. That's one of the cool parts about Advance of Zeta. It's like a connective tissue, and it goes far out in the UC future, and we'll even get to that. But just to get like an idea of the mobile suits featured in Advance of Zeta, we have those from the Titans, which if you think about what we see in Zeta, the series Zeta, there's not a whole lot, well, compared to what's in the mangas here. We have the whole TR line, which is going to be another video that will come out soon to kind of explain what that means. But I mean, the Quell, something that was wasn't that added into Stardust Memory to kind of add some more lore to Zeta and the Titans, and then we even see more that's in the Zeta trilogy. The Gap Plant's a big one. We have different variations on mobile suits we already like. I mean, and it just goes on. And if you're familiar with this channel, you know I love the Hazel, and there's all those variants of the Hazel. Now, this document, you know, thanks for Talos to help putting it together, will be available to supporters as a PDF. Not only is it links to all the different mobile suits found in the Advance of Zeta series, but also there's just some other commentary and notes from when we were putting this research together. And because the stories are linked to other parts of the Universal Century, we even get into Zeon Remnants mobile suits, AUG mobile suits as well. I mean, you can check out this real quick to get an idea, but also that PDF is available. So, you know, as can be said by the list above, Advance of Zeta has a long charter of mobile suits and variations. But this is just from the manga series without including the 3 novels following the manga and the 2 manga that follow right after. I've actually only myself read I want to say the first part of the first manga. It was interesting seeing what was going on, but it seemed pretty simple story-wise. So I'm really curious to see what goes on after that. You're introduced to some pilots who are part of that, get moved into like the special program, the Titans, and they see some cool suits there, and that it's almost like you yourself as a fan of Gundam kind of getting put into the special division of where you get to pilot mobile suits for once. So it's kind of an interesting story element there. But often, Gundam series have relatively linear designs that are easy to follow through in aspects of development. Advance of Zeta decided to take it a step forward, showing that mobile suits had ties with each other and a lot larger family trees as well, all under one plan, and that's called the United Maintenance Plan. And see, that's one of those main aspects I was talking about earlier of why I get so excited about Advance of Zeta, is because all the different awesome looking mobile suits and how they connect even with mobile suits that came before and that come after that are not necessarily an animation directly tied to Advance of Zeta, but they're able to do that with this additional lore. To see how much effort is put behind explaining not only what came before, but also what came after, such as Shark's Counterattack, Unicorn, and even F91 and beyond, is expansive beyond comprehension and less detailed to the extent that the mechanical designers have explained it. So everything in Advance of Zeta feels purposeful, no wasted motion, no wasted breath, even moments where the characters interact have meaning. Just like mobile suits, people are three-dimensional, and that leads to the following fact. Advance of Zeta, the Flag of the Titans, is a manga that depicts what happened to Titan pilots who had technically no crimes under their belt. Even something such as having an affiliation with the Titans after the Grips Wars was considered a crime on its own. There was no escape, and that felt real. And, just thinking about that, thinking about what the Titans ended up becoming, what that led to, how many pilots joined the Titans that had, nothing to do with what they were meant to do. It's kind of interesting to think about that. We almost think of the Titans as bad guys and all of them as bad guys, but it was just people simply doing their duty. They were, assigned to be with the Titans, and the things they were carrying out weren't that great. Moving away from manga and novels, the amazing designs of mobile suits were made by Kenki Fujioka. Sorry if I butchered that. Who, until he started working with Advance of Zeta, designs were often described as leaning towards chibi rather than realistic, which you can kind of see almost in the Wound War. Now, deep in his experience with Advance of Zeta, the designs outside of Gundam can be easily correlated with Advance of Zeta. So, for instance, this Dollmaster design that was done by him. This isn't Gundam. But it looks like it. But at the same time, it just looks like it based on his designs that were based on kind of his chibi kind of look of designs he did. So it's actually neat to kind of see the influences if you're not familiar with that designer. Focusing on those designs, a major part of Advance of Zeta has been, as of late, Advance of Zeta Reboot Gundam Inlay, which was also written by Kenki Fujioka as a side story that starts as a story from before the 1 Year War. So, that's pretty cool to actually go far back and to add those connections. So Reboot Gundam Inlay starts us off by seeing that when humanity had started making space colonies, a group of colonies, Side A Arcadia, was built on Mars. Mars's Side A was autonomous from the Earth Federation from its distance that set it apart from Earth. It picks up after the Grips Wars, setting it away from the main series and giving us a new part of the Gundam universe. We were already aware of Jupiter, but Mars now enters the scene. Mars, just like Jupiter, unlocks a whole new world, which AOZ Reboot shows us a grimmer version of. After the 1 Year War, Cassilia loyalists took over the Mars colonies and became Zeon Mars. After the Delaz conflict, Giran loyalists arrived at the Mars colonies and established themselves as Re-Zeon. At the end of the Grips Wars, Titans remnants that had merged with Axis forces arrived at the colonies with the TR series plans and Inlay's wings, also known as the RX-124 Gundam TR-6 502. With the TR-6 and the Titan remnants joining the Re-Zeon, Zeon Mars fell and merged under Re-Zeon's leadership, with Alicia Zabi as its leader. With the TR series plans under their hood, Re-Zeon restarted production on the TR line mobile suits and built upon them, shedding and leaving behind their outdated Zeonic mobile suits as they were no longer Zeon remnants and could only move forward. So it's kind of an interesting kind of evolution of where the designs go based on the story. You're always having people that dissent or defect or move from the greater, what the world is, even if that's the Principality of Zeon. Then they have remnants that then go off and do their own things. And it's actually interesting to see that even before 1 Year War, there's this path you can follow of where Advance of Zeta designs go to. And I don't know what it is. Is it that the Advance of Zeta designs are so advanced for their time period? We do know that some production costs made it hard to mass produce units, and then some units would just not be used anymore. But it is kind of cool to see that the immediate Earth sphere you see through 100, it seems that Zeon remnants go away and some of the designs change, but we still have things going on at Mars, which is really cool. Another video I'll have to touch on too. So anyway, that's kind of just a baseline, standard, few facts to get an understanding of what Advance of Zeta is. You know, a shame we don't have any animation yet. We kind of pick up the pieces by reading novels or looking at the manga or looking at model kits that are from Advance of Zeta. And, you know, as a fan of lore and story based on things that interest me, those Gundam designs are some of my favorite Gundam designs ever, and I wish there was another way I could get into the story. Hey, even if it was making a video game, think about that, an Advance of Zeta video game that follows the story while you get to try all the different AOZ mobile suits. I'd love it. But anyway, thanks again, Talos Mobius, for the research you've provided for me on this document. This has been fun to put together. If you are a supporter, PDF is available to you, Patreon, or if you're a YouTube member, there'll be a link there for it. But anyway, guys, thanks for watching. We'll talk later.